Is Sunday. It is a beautiful Sunday here in St. Louis, Missouri. And it's been a great weekend. Yesterday, I was hanging out with my family. We all went to the swimming pool. My niece Zuri turned 4 last week. Well, earlier this week she turned 4. What was last week? It was sometime relatively soon in the last week or so she turned 4. And yesterday we all got together and went swimming, had dinner together. It was nice. And it's been a nice morning. I had a very wonderful breakfast. I had fried chicken, eggs, biscuits, and gravy. It was and hash browns. I forgot to add the hash browns. It was all on the bottom. It was like one big piece. It was amazing. We got Mara. What's going on? How's Mara? How you doing today? Hope you're feeling good. Like I said, it's been a really, really good weekend. Doctor Who gives a F what's going on. But yeah, last week I was on Indisputable. Sigourney, good to have you here. Thank you for joining. Last week I was what was it, Monday or Tuesday? I was on, I think it was Tuesday, I was on Indisputable. On Friday night, I was on um the power panel. And then tomorrow and Tuesday, I'm going to be on Indisputable again. So I may not stream tomorrow or Tuesday on this channel just because I'm going to be on earlier in the afternoon. But unless there's like really juicy content to get at, then I'll do it. But otherwise, catch me tomorrow on Indisputable and catch me Tuesday on Indisputable, and then Wednesday I'll be back to normal. Ariola, what's going on? So you just figured out how to replace my garage door opener. Shit, good. I hope you save some money figuring out how to save the garage door opener, because it's always some shit draining your bank account, having somebody else come install it. I'm not a handyman. I have skills and talents in other areas, but I'm not really a fix it up type of person. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't even lie. Luckily, we live in the digital age because you can just dial a couple things in the app and then here comes somebody. But yes, and I'm good. Good. I'm glad that you're in good spirits. But yeah, since Joe Biden has exited the race, Donald Trump is completely losing it, and I'm convinced that he doesn't have any ability to do anything different. And really, what this has shown is that there was never a campaign to begin with. The Republican strategy to win this election basically has been nothing more than, let's convince the public that Donald Trump is successful and that everybody loves him. And it's not working, and so everything's collapsing because there's nothing more than that. We went through the 20 bullet point list of Donald Trump's policy plans, and it was, end inflation, make America energy independent. One of what I think it was number 17 on the list was keep men out of women's sports. Number 18 on the list was deport pro-Hamas radicals and make our campuses safe and patriotic again. In other words, um, target and target and go after people who are supporters of Palestinians. That's essentially what that means. And of course, a lot of these people, most of these people, given the fact that they're here in the U.S., are American-born citizens. So, where are you going to deport them to? So you see what I'm saying? Like, not only is this egregious, but it's absolutely ridiculous. It's just completely it's just completely gone. There's no campaign. JD Vance is the most unpopular VP pick in history, and he can't stop making things worse everywhere he goes. Every time he opens his mouth. We'll look at it in a sec, but he compared Kamala Harris to Jeffrey Epstein. Like, he probably could have picked anybody else, especially given the fact that Donald Trump was literally just on Jeffrey Epstein's plane a few days ago. So there's that. JD Vance has absolutely no record whatsoever to speak of. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you playing Breath of the Wild, making spaghetti sauce with your own garden ingredients. That sounds like a lovely Sunday. It's really nice here in St. Louis. So after I'm done with this stream, I'm gonna hang out outside while the sun's still out. But yeah, Joe when Joe Biden was in the race, all they really needed to do was troll him, basically keep on trolling, and Democratic voter turnout would have been depressed enough to where he would have just crossed the finish line. But you got to keep in mind, Donald Trump was It's not like he was very far ahead of Joe Biden. He wasn't. And now that all this excitement is injected into the Democratic base, clearly people are just ready to move forward. People are ready to move on. And the strategy of let's pretend like Donald Trump didn't lose in 2020 isn't working. And when you ask people what exactly could happen to turn this race around, typically they'll say, "I don't know, but something could happen." When you're in that territory, you're in a pretty good position. So unless Kamala and Tim Walz, you know, do something incredibly unlikely, then it's trending in the direction of them winning in November. So Biden dropping out is definitely the best thing that ever could have happened to Democrats. Tim Walz was the best pick that Kamala Harris could have made. He is, his energy, his vibes. Not just that, but he has an incredible record as a politician. And JD Vance has no record, so that debate's gonna be pretty interesting. Oh man, here we go with this. I still got some of these sites that's trying to I still got some of these websites that are trying to get me to join. And you know what? Kamala put out her economic proposal, some of her economic policies, and the Republicans are doing the same thing that they're always doing. Oh no, if we help anybody whatsoever, then the economy's going to crash. Here come the redcoats. Everything's going to go full blown communist if we help anyone whatsoever. But when it comes to bailing out multinational corporations who fail, that's totally fine. We can bail them out endlessly. We can give breaks and cuts to people who don't need them at all. We can do that endlessly. No, that always makes sense. However, when it comes to like raising the cap on Social Security, no, let's not talk about that at all. But when it comes to providing meals for children in schools, that's just a bunch of commie BS, of course. So yeah, oh, it's so scary. This is so scary. It's so frightening.
He explained it.
Anytime the Democrats want to do anything that's remotely left of center, it's like, oh, the country's going to collapse. But honestly, this just really isn't selling as much as it used to, especially when y'all don't have any plans at all. Donald Trump's plans keep men out of women's sports. Like, yeah, that'll help put food on the table.
It beautifully. The risks and the danger of starting something like this. John Taffer, take a look.
Think of a shrimp. The fisherman needs to keep his costs the same. His gas can't go up. His maintenance can't go up. Then the processing plant, their prices can't go up. Then the distributor's price can't go up. Then the company that retails it can't go up. Then when a restaurant gets it, his prices can't go up. If anything loses control along the way, the guys on the back end.
And again, it's like all this outrage, but pretending as though there's so much competition in the marketplace. There's definitely competition, but we went over the merger that's what was it, Kellogg's and somebody else trying to or someone trying to buy Cheez-Its and Pop Tarts. I can't remember the company for $30 billion. All these acquisitions. Before I moved away to New Jersey, I'm back in St. Louis right now, but before I moved away, I know y'all heard of Monsanto, the chemical the chemical like bioengineering corporation. Monsanto was bought by Bayer, and now the Monsanto campus in St. Louis, instead of Monsanto, it says Bayer. That's the reality of the free market in America. It's let's continue to let these conglomerates come together and become more and more like monopolies, and then act as if that's competition. Like, so all this outrage is ridiculous.
To the chain lose money, and this is what we've seen last time. We saw landlords not rent apartments because they would lose money on it. So unless you freeze every single cost of every business in the country, you cannot cap some of them. And of course, Neil, if you were to do that, then our free market economy is gone.
Our free market economy. Let's bring on this. He's a popular guy on television. Let's bring on this TV guy. Oh, you remember him? You remember him, right? He's on TV. Oh, this has nothing to do with rich people, rich greedy people just wanting more for nothing. Has nothing to do with that, whatsoever. They're so concerned about the little guy.
And that is socialism. And
It's socialism.
entrepreneurship disappears. My ability to innovate and create
This dude said entrepreneurship disappears.
profits and add value to my customers so I can increase price. Make my service better so I can increase prices. Create better work environments so I can attract better employees. I can't do any of those things anymore.
And again, what is American work culture and business culture? They act like at the end of the day, um, people just love our job market. Like when you sign enough of stuff, they looking for you to, oh, I'm passionate about Target. I'm really passionate about boxing up supplies. And it's not if you go into a job interview and say, well, I got bills to pay and not y'all hiring, so I'm what's up? They'll be like, oh, we're looking for someone who's going to be a bit more devoted to the company cause. And you work somewhere for 20 years and they'll give your ass a 50 cent raise. That's the reality of the American job market. People working 2, 3 jobs to make ends meet. The cost of living continuously going up. Oh boy, we like that's the reality of it. You sitting here talking about like it's just this big happy-go-lucky market. No, it's a dog eat dog market.
Once this is put into place, it freezes us where we are, and I believe it stops any type of growth that we could ever have. Neil, take a look at the last year. Red Lobster filed bankruptcy. Rubio's in California filed bankruptcy. A company called Miracle Restaurant Group with 25 Arby's fast food, they filed bankruptcy. Another company with 17 Popeyes filed bankruptcy. Tijuana Flats filed bankruptcy. Quiznos.
He's not saying why they filed bankruptcy, but let's see if he does.
At 4,700 restaurants, they're down to 300 restaurants. These are the economic conditions that we're living in now.
Oh, okay, well, God, these people are so full of shit, man. They're so full of shit. The economy is better than it was under Trump, even pre-pandemic conditions. The economy always performs better under Democrats than it does under Republicans, at least in my lifetime. Ronald Reagan gets in there. Look, he's so amazing. Free market business. Oh, look, the union membership crumbles. The one at the time, the largest redistribution of wealth at the time, and that's only grown since then. Ronald Reagan got in there and racism all over the place, welfare queens helping to spin the message that, if you're taking subsidies, it's just because you're a lazy clown. But, we can give billions of dollars in subsidies to oil companies and to Walmart and to all of these, giant entities that absolutely don't need the subsidies. We can do that. And it doesn't trickle down. It doesn't trickle down whatsoever. We know this. George W. Bush comes in. Look what happened. You go from Reagan, then you had HW, and then Bill Clinton. The economy, it performed significantly better under Bill Clinton than it did because Democrats are always cleaning up the mess, because Republicans, not only is Republican economic policies strictly to make rich people richer and to cut regulations so that the wealthy people can stuff their pockets without much of anybody combating them, or the ability to, like the IRS, they can tax me and you all day, but it's more difficult for them to go after billionaires because they don't have the resources. Those are Republican policies. And then, of course, Republicans don't believe in government. So let's put someone who doesn't believe in public education to run the education department. Let's put an oil lobbyist, a coal lobbyist to be the head of the Environmental Protection Agency. Oh, look, it doesn't work. We should get rid of it. See, I told you. The government doesn't work properly, even though I'm the one who ruined it and messed it up. I mean, it's the same shit that they've been doing constantly. George W. Bush goes in, and then we have one of the biggest economic downturns in modern history, proceeding what Ronald Reagan did when he left the country in shambles. And then we go to Barack Obama, who, compared to the Republicans passed the Affordable Care Act. Before the Affordable Care Act was in place, if you had pre-existing conditions, oh well, you just gonna die in debt. Too bad for you. And then cleaning up the economy. Oh, and then here comes Donald Trump, and the country was shut down for a year because he pretended like COVID didn't exist, and then oh, it's Dr. Fauci's fault. He has no clue what he's doing. Millions of people lost their jobs, but for some reason, Republicans want to give him a mulligan for that. It's a mulligan. Oh, uh, this dude was the leader of the country, and it was shut down for a year, and somehow, oh, we'll just let him skate by with that. Then Joe Biden comes into office, cleans up that mess even more, and the economy's better than it was pre-COVID conditions. The stock market's performing at record highs. The stock market is not a good indication of the real economy, but Republicans care about the stock market. Well, look how well it's doing. So again, I don't really. I mean, what else is there really to say? When Republicans are in power, they just fuck everything up. That is what happens every time they get in power. And then obviously Democrats have issues. Democrats are corrupt, but Democrats at least run the government properly and things move forward a little bit. But I really don't know where the lie. Perhaps some of y'all can tell me who've been around a bit longer in the political scene. Where exactly did the myth of Republicans being good at economics come from? Because they're not. They're absolutely not.
Now, and rather than capping it, how about stimulating it? How about creating an environment where entrepreneurs can be entrepreneurs?
Don't you think that creating an environment? Oh yeah, because we don't have that environment right now. Entrepreneurs can't be entrepreneurs right now. And also, don't you think that assisting people helps them to be entrepreneurs? You give people a bit of assistance and they can, afford homes, or they just have a bit more benefits coming in to where they have some extra spending money. Don't you think that would stimulate the economy a little bit? No, 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 it won't. The economy is only stimulated if the wealthiest people in the world get more money that they don't have to spend, because they already have so much cash and so much resources and so much credit that they don't really have to touch their reserves. They can just live off of the interest. But we should give them more. But people who can't afford to travel, an entrepreneur who, if they had a couple extra $100 a month, maybe they could go and do more networking. Maybe they could travel a bit more. Maybe they could invest into their businesses if only it was more affordable for them to get by on a day-to-day basis. Oh no, 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 no. Screw all of that. I mean, I'm so tired of this shit. You said, do you think the Gaza protesters will make Trump win? No, I do not. I do not at all. And well, not even just that, but Trump is clearly a worse option for anybody who cares about Gaza. The point of anybody protesting for Gaza would be that they want to see the Harris administration or the Biden administration or anybody who's in power to push for a ceasefire and to rein Netanyahu in, and to rein in Israel's influence over the country and over our politics in general. But Donald Trump is literally talking about deporting American citizens who are pro-Palestine. So no, I don't think that would help at all. Him win, because he's just a worse option. And Kamala Harris is not Joe Biden. So anybody who genuinely cares about Gaza is gonna not vote for Donald Trump. Maybe they'll sit out the election, but they're not going to vote for Donald Trump. We got Lady F&T, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, man. Thank you for everything that you've been doing. Thank you for helping this channel out. Let's see. Oh, we got Dragon Ball Super with the and we got Manuel, we got Rodney, Erlinda. Thank you so much. G back on board. But yeah, this guy. Oh, and because that was just the economic stuff. Oh, we can't help people. We can't do that at all. Because next thing you know, and Republicans are, all the polls are fake all of a sudden. When Donald Trump was up in the polls, those were real, but now they're fake. Okay, good luck. they're all trending in one direction, so they all can't be fake. But keep it going, keep this up. They just look pathetic. The Republican Party is they're pathetic. They are unbelievably pathetic. They're so pathetic that they're sucking all the oxygen out of the room. Oh, here's JD Vance. Oh, the polls are fake. Oh, okay.
Do on
Our internal polls. This dude said, I don't know if it's in this clip. He said our internal polling is showing that Kamala is leveling off. And if you ask her insiders, they're really, really worried about where she is right now. First and foremost, no, her polling is not leveling off. It's still going up. And the DNC is this weekend, which means that her polls are going to go up even more. It might not be another 5-10 points, but they're going to go up more than they are now. And, versus on the other side, what y'all are doing are also helping to drive your own poll numbers down. And then also, if you talk to insiders on her campaign, are these insiders talking to you, JD Vance? They told you this? No, you're just saying things. Mr. I'm the most unpopular vice presidential candidate in the history of America and have no political record whatsoever to speak of, JD Vance. He knows what's going on the inside of Kamala's campaign.
on November.
Well, how does that not line up then with another poll we got out this morning? Washington Post, ABC, they're giving the vice president nationally a 4 to 5 point lead. Those are new numbers. So if you think the momentum is not swinging or your internal polls are suggesting differently, every other poll that's been released has shown great momentum in her direction.
Shannon, I think there are a lot of polls that actually show her stagnating and leveling off. Of course, ABC Washington Post was a wildly inaccurate pollster in the summer of 2020. And look, if you see the numbers that we're seeing and you actually...
Okay, and I'll let him finish in a sec. But, let's go back to 2020. Well, in 2020, Donald Trump's lost. So what, I don't really know what we're going back to 2024 because in 2020, Donald Trump did not win. And then, of course, after the reversal of Roe v. Wade, Democrats have been overperforming in the polls. So, interesting that you don't mention the last several set of elections. You go back to 2020, where Donald Trump still did not win, right? And then you have these other pundits who are talking about 2016, but it is not 2016. Kamala Harris is not Hillary Clinton. Kamala Harris is running a very strong campaign. Hillary Clinton is very bad at campaigning. And we have been watching Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? We're watching Donald Trump, and we've been seeing him for 8 years. You know what I'm saying? No, that is not true. Polls are absolutely worth a damn. When polls are all trending in one direction, that is giving you a snapshot of what reality is. Polls are... No, that is not true. Polls are definitely worth a damn. Polls are so worth a damn that is why Joe Biden is out of the race right now. So, for these people to sit here and say, well, the polls don't matter. Oh, okay, good luck. Good luck with that.
You see the numbers that we're seeing and you actually talk to the American people, I feel extremely confident that we're going to be in the right place come November. We can't worry about polls. We have to run through the finish line and encourage everybody to get out there and vote. But our message is going to be very simple. If you want to get back to the peace and prosperity, the rising take-home pay, Donald Trump delivered it once and he can do it again.
No, he didn't. No, again, the Republican strategy has been, let's pretend like Donald Trump is successful. He's not. Donald Trump is a failure. Outside of politics, Donald Trump is a failure. And he lost in 2020. And when he was president, millions of people lost their jobs and the country was shut down for a year. Again, I don't understand how people blow past that. I really don't get it. How are you going to give him a break on that? And even at that, okay, go to pre-pandemic. Go to the pre-pandemic. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, okay, whoever 91GT347 is, you're delusional. You said there's not even well, when she does beat him, I'll be very curious. I'm not even mad at you. I just think you're delusional. But when I don't know if you're being serious or if you're trolling. Either way, if you're serious, you about to be mad because she's definitely gonna win. So I just I don't get these people. You know, why are you pretending like Donald Trump is successful? He's not. He's absolutely not.
If you
All they had to do was go with a different candidate. Oh, you know, because now polls don't matter now, but when Donald Trump was up in the polls, they mattered then, right? They mattered then, you know, but now they don't matter all of a sudden.
want to double down on the failed policies that have delivered higher food prices and higher housing prices, well, Kamala Harris has been vice president for 3.5 years, and I guarantee she's going to make the problem worse if the American people give her a promotion.
So
the thing we have to remember.
See, I already knew that the title of my stream has attracted MAGA chuds. 99% chance one of you fruits in the chat has monkeypox, and you in the chat now, so it looks like you're going to catch it. You all up in the orgy. You are all up in the LGBTQ orgy, and you are about to catch the smallpox as well, Merc Tech. You probably gonna catch a whole lot of other stuff. You feel me? Because we up here getting our freak on in this motherfucker. That is exactly what we in here doing. So I hope you brought protection, Merc Tech, because we got all types of shit spreading in this motherfucker. All right, here we go.
One final point. Let me just say one final point on this, Shannon, because I think it's important. Consistently, what you've seen in 2016 and 2020 is that the media.
Yes, and yes. I mean, this is such a. I'm glad these people are here because they're giving us such a beautiful snapshot into why they're such idiot losers, right? You know, like this is what they do. You people are just online, permanently, just terminally online losers who have no real social life, right? Like, why are you even in here? Like, it's Sunday. Go do something. You know, why are you watching me? You should be watching maybe Fox or One America News Network or Newsmax or somebody like that. But you're in here because you have no life, right? And you're the delusional one. You're you know. So I don't really. This is such a beautiful example of how stupid these people are. Like, why are you here? Go do something. Go do something, bro. But you don't have anything to do because I'm sure that people don't like you very much. And that's. Oh, you said you didn't say she wouldn't win. Oh, okay. So now you're trying to correct yourself a little bit. Okay. I don't know what you're getting at. But again, no, I'm not triggered at all. I'm literally making fun of you. I'm literally making fun of you, Merc Tech. I'm not triggered at all. I don't care. Like I'm making fun of you people. You're a loser. You're an idiot. Why are you here? Go do something. Go on a date with somebody. But probably I would be willing to bet that nobody really wants to date you. You probably spend most of your time watching red pill content, and you know, I don't even need to keep on psychoanalyzing you. But nobody in here is triggered. I don't seem upset at all. I'm having a good time.
Uses fake polls to drive down Republican turnout and to create dissension and conflict with Republican voters. I'm telling you, every single person who's watching this, the Trump campaign is in a very, very good spot. We're going to win this race. We just have to run through the finish line.
Okay.
We're going to win. The polls are all fake. But when Trump's up in the polls, those polls are real. All right, let's see. Where we at now? Oh, we got our pal George Santos. We got some George Santos coming, but I'm gonna get to that in a minute. I gotta open up another tab because I'm not going to pay for a membership here. All right, let's go and let's continue to watch Trump lose his mind. Let's go to the rally that he just had. Book. I didn't seen all them videos of all the people saying Trump's an idiot and they shouldn't have him. But then when Trump won in 2016, they all changed their tunes. All right, let's see. And now they're quiet because we're not upset with them. See, you see that's another even bigger example of how big of losers the MAGA crowd is. If you don't get mad at them, then they have nothing to feed off of. You know, they're miserable, so they try to trigger people. But when nobody cares, they just, you know what I'm saying? Oh, yep. There we go. Half the subs are pedos. Yes, you're just saying things, Mark, and no one is getting mad at you. Absolutely, no one is getting mad at you. No, yeah, I don't. Are you 91G? Are you saying that I only listen? I don't know. I don't know. But I think that again, if you came here to trigger people, you're not doing that. No, nobody cares. All right, now let's go into some footage from the rally. Trump says, "Why are we having an election after Harris got nomination without primary votes? They didn't have an election, so we shouldn't have an election."
Does anyone here feel richer under Kamala Harris and Crooked Joe? Is anything less expensive under Kamala Harris or Crooked Joe? No. It's been devastating. Inflation has been devastating under this group of people that have no idea what the hell they're doing. Are you better off with Kamala and Biden than you were under President Donald J. Trump? I don't think so. You know, they do polls on this stuff, and I'm at like 93%. I said, so why are we having an election? They didn't have an election. Why are we having an election?
Why are we having an election? They didn't have an election. They should just let me win. They should just give me the crown. I shouldn't have to debate Kamala. I shouldn't have to do any of this. They should just give me the W. 2024, Donald Trump.
How would you like to be Biden? He's working, he's spending money, he's trying. They wanted to have a debate. That's the thing that started it all. You know, if I didn't debate him, he'd still be running right now. But I believe she will be easier to beat than him because she's a truly radical left lunatic.
Radical left lunatic.
Does anyone here feel?
All right, I already know y'all see the clip where they're like, "I'm a better looking person than Kamala." Like, okay, man. Even if that was true, no one cares. Absolutely, no one cares about that. So right now, you should be telling Americans what you're going to do. You should be telling people how you're going to help their lives. But instead, this is what it is. You said Kamala is literally a communist. Even WAPO admits it. No one likes you idiots. Okay, it seems that 91G is actually rather reasonable. But Merck Tech, this is the idiot. So apologies to 91G if that went the wrong way. But Merck Tech is definitely a complete moron. Yeah, and you're not triggering anybody at all. So I don't. What are you talking about? All right, now rambling. Trump rally crowd listens quietly as Trump explains at left how he doesn't ramble. All right, let's see what's up. Hold on, I got to get this other screen going.
I heard the other day, and this isn't anything. I'm just saying. They'll say he was rambling. I don't ramble. I'm a really smart guy. Really smart. I don't ramble. But the other day, anytime I hit too hard, they say he.
Yes, Merck Tech. I had no idea what WAPO was. I didn't know what that meant. I had absolutely no clue what that meant. Thank you for informing me on that.
He was rambling. You know, I get up and I make a speech. I go for sometimes 2 hours, 2.5 hours, because people are waiting for 3 days.
Thank you for tuning in. I didn't know if I was going to do the stream today, but I'm glad that I did. Thank you for tuning in. But again, listen, it's pretty clear and it's pretty objective. It's pretty clear. Donald Trump has been absolutely losing all the trajectory that he has because people are tired of him. And instead of talking about policy, instead of focusing on things that matters, he's saying that Kamala Harris is not black. He's saying that he looks better than Kamala Harris, and he won't stop whining and complaining about how he's not going against Joe Biden anymore, and his poll numbers are tanking. Oh, and then of course, JD Vance is absolutely destroying his campaign. So, Merck Tech, you can ignore that all you'd like, but it is what it is.
It's 4 days. You guys were waiting out there for a long time. Front row Joes are waiting out. I don't know how you guys do it. And I feel I have an obligation to speak in a certain way and speak a little bit longer. How would you like it? A guy's waiting with his family for 3.5, 4 days. They have a tent. And the tent is, they have hundreds of them.
Oh my God. Yo. Merck Tech is trying so hard. He's trying so hard Yo, MAGA is embarrassing. You people are unbelievably stupid. And 91 Tech or whatever, come get your boy, man. 91G, come get your boy.
And they wait. And then I walk in, speak for 15 minutes and leave. I don't know, somehow. Would that be okay, North Carolina? I don't think so, right? They want me to speak all day. You know, when I leave, I did one 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I'm leaving. And they're screaming, no, sir, more. We want to hear more. I said, I can't. I can't speak more. What the hell else am I going to say? Our country's going to hell. That's all I can say. We're a nation in decline. You know,
And again, this rhetoric isn't helping him either. The talking about what you're going to do, inspiring hope in people, being relatable. That's one of the biggest reasons that Kamala and Tim Walz's campaign is doing well, because people feel that they can relate to them. They're giving them a positive vision. All Donald Trump is doing is saying how everything's going to shit, and if you don't elect me, then the whole world's going to explode.
You know, people are saying that the only reason the stock market is up right now is because people think I'm going to win.
Like, no, that's not how the stock market works. That's not how any of this works. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, this shit is stupid. It's ineffective. People don't want to hear it. People want to hear how you're going to help them. So whether or not anyone agrees with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz's campaign proposals, they have proposals. Donald Trump has a 20-point bullet list that's end inflation. What does that mean? How are you going to end inflation? Make America energy independent like never before. We already are more energy independent than we've ever been before. These are not policy proposals. So at least when you're talking about some type of a price cap, at least you can debate that. But there's nothing going on with Donald Trump's campaign because he doesn't have a campaign. He thought he was going to be able to troll his way into office, and clearly that isn't working.
we were talking about that before. My phrases are copied so much, right? I use the term oftentimes in closing, we are a nation in decline. We are a failed nation. And I think it's a beautiful phrase, although I don't like the topic very much. I don't like what it represents, but there's a certain beauty. All of a sudden,
because like this really is not about anybody being a super fan or some type of massive supporter of Kamala Harris. Donald Trump is running a horrible campaign. His campaign is horrible, and anybody who's being honest and objective can say that. In fact, you got Republican pundits, Republican politicians in the media begging Donald Trump to get focused, begging him, please get on topic. But he's never been on topic. This is all he's ever done before. At least in 2016, he was talking a little bit more about policy, but still, the biggest reason why the Republican base has embraced him so much is because they like his antics. They enjoy it, So it's really that simple, and it's not working anymore. So, here's that better looking person stuff. And we definitely gonna be taking more of a dive into Kamala's policy proposals. We went over the economic agenda a few days ago, but as it keeps coming out, we gonna keep critiquing it and keep checking it out. All right, so here we go with this.
I mean, Time Magazine, think of this. Time Magazine.
Why is he talking about Time Magazine? Because he wants to be on the cover of Time Magazine. He is a simpleton. Donald Trump is a simple-minded clown, and all he cares about is being adored and people cheering for him and being seen as a winner, because that's all he talks about. Why are you talking about this?
Doesn't have a picture of her. They have this unbelievable artist drawing her. And I said, is that Sophia Loren? I couldn't. Who might that be? Is that Elizabeth Taylor? They say she was a beautiful woman. Who is it? It's so beautiful. Drawing. It's a drawing. They took a lot of pictures. It didn't work out, so they hired a sketch artist. I said, I'm sure, they must be celebrating the great life and times of the magnificently beautiful Sophia Loren. And you're not allowed to say this anymore. David, don't ever get caught in this trap, David, please.
Exactly. Proposals are proposals. And again, the real test and the real critique will come after she becomes president. What's she gonna do? What's she not gonna do? How's she gonna handle certain situations? Then people will really be able to judge her on her effectiveness. But right now, people are just tired of Donald Trump. They're tired of him. Clearly, they're tired of him. What is this shit, man?
Don't ever call a woman beautiful, because that'll be the end of your political career. Please. I want to make your life much easier, David. By the way, he's also got a great wife, I have to say. He's got a great wife. But I mean, I read it.
Nah, I don't think Trump would do that. I don't. No, I don't. If he called her the N word, I would be highly surprised. No, I don't think he would do something like that. I doubt it. I don't think so.
A so-called Republican who Ronald Reagan didn't like, by the way, and she didn't like him, but she got credit for being this Reagan speechwriter. Highly overrated. I don't know anything about her. I don't know her. Treats me badly, but that's okay. She called it wrong. She's called it wrong now for about 8 years. But she said one thing that got me. She said Kamala has one big advantage. She's a very beautiful woman.
Man, Mark Tech is again. Thank Mark Tech. I'm really glad that you in here because you are such a beautiful example of why MAGA has lost and why you're going to lose in November and why your movement is pathetic. Because you're stupid and you don't realize it. You are a dumb person. You are very stupid and you really don't get it. Like you don't see it. Like there's no working with you. There's nothing I can say to you that can unstupid you. You're just not a smart person.
She's a beautiful woman. So I decided to go back and reread the clause. I'm not saying he's, but I say that I am much better looking than her. I think I'm much better. Much better. I'm a better looking person than Kamala.
Like, what are you doing? Like, and again, and then he'll do shit like this, and they'll be like, "Oh, the media is focusing on the." No, okay. If you have actually watched his speeches or his conferences and the things that he's done over the last several months, he does this throughout the whole thing. It's all he does. It's so. And at the end of the day, you're the one saying these things, Donald. So why are you blaming people for repeating what you are saying? Again, it's just this is the worst campaign maybe any of us have ever seen. It sucks. This shit sucks. This is pathetic. Like, what are you even talking about? What are you doing, man? What is this? And he's still talking about, and again, he's still talking about men and women's sports. Amani Khalifa is a man. Like, dude, how is this helping you get independent votes? How is this helping you with swing state voters? Oh, all the polls are fake, but you're going down in all the polls. So, largely because of things like this. What are you talking about? Who cares? No one cares about this shit, man. No one cares. No, why are you bringing this up in your speeches? The whole this dude. What is more? Republicans. Part of the Republican platform is supporting troops, supporting police officers, supporting state workers in those positions, right? And this dude's going off talking about
The Presidential Medal of Freedom is better than the Medal of Honor because people who get the Medal of Honor have, get shot up and blown up, or maybe they're dead.
like, dude, who asked you to say that, man? Who told you to say that shit? Nobody is telling you to say this. Nobody even asked you about that, right? And then he'll be like, the media. Nah, bro, you are saying these things. You're doing this to yourself. Who the fuck asked you to talk about that? You know what I'm saying? No, 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 no. I don't know. They're like, this is so ridiculous. Like Kamala is she's so consistently ahead in the polls now that it's boring. It's like there's really not even that much point in following them super hard because she's up in all of them. She's up in all of them. Like this shit is pathetic, man. All right, let's see. And then again, Republicans, oh, if we do anything to help people at all, next thing you know, communism. Like, bro, this country's never going to be communist. It's not happening. I'm a capitalist, and so are you, because you're an American. If you live in this country, you are a capitalist. We live in a capitalist system. Nothing is going to change that. We may move a little bit more to the left with certain type of social programs, but it's always going to inherently be a capitalist system. You know, so if we give people a little bit of assistance, oh, everything is going to come down. But we can bail out the multinational corporations. We can bail out the wealthy. We can do that shit. No, I don't think she should bring Stormy Daniels to the debate. Stormy Daniels is she not gonna be there. But no, she definitely should do that. All right, hold on. Let's see what's up. If Kamala Harris's plan, if you want to create the happy economic conditions of The Walking Dead, again, it's like, oh, okay. If we help people, the country's gonna explode.
What did you see?
Well, first thing I saw was a searing indictment of the conditions in the country. She was very effective at laying out just how hard hit the American people have been by the policies of the Biden-Harris agenda. I mean, inflation is the number one issue, food prices, housing costs, the housing shortage. All of that is absolutely true. And she and Joe Biden are in charge, and she has directly cast votes that have led to these conditions. So I don't know how she plans to separate herself from Joe Biden on this, because everything she talked about today, she has a direct hand in. The other thing that I picked up on today was this whole notion that price gouging, or gauging, as she called it, is what people are feeling. That is a total canard. This is not true. This is made up because they're trying to deflect attention from the actual inflation that has caused everything in your life to get more expensive. So they need the American people to believe something other than the truth. There is no price gouging. Grocery stores, these things, they operate on very slim profit margins. There is no gouging. There is just inflation.
So hold on. Let me ask you now, 1G, because I think that I don't dislike you. I think that you've been reasonable. But why should we give him that grace? And since people aren't giving him that grace, that's reality. You know what I'm saying? So, like, from just an analytic perspective, it's like, well, people aren't giving you grace. So, like, you can say this, but it doesn't really matter. Like, Donald Trump's a 78-year-old man. He shouldn't get grace.
And say, I'm going to get the federal government involved.
At least that's how I see it. You know what I'm saying? Because if I said some shit like this, I certainly wouldn't be telling people, "Oh, relax." You feel me? Like, at least that's my take on it.
In setting prices or capping prices or interrupting the flow of the free market economy. Let me tell you,
politics is about what is, not what should be. What should be really is irrelevant. Who cares about how things should be? Everybody thinks things should be like this, it should be like that. But that ain't how shit is, and that's why his campaign is tanking.
Tell you something. If you like bread lines, product shortages, black markets, hoarding, if you want to recreate the happy economic conditions of The Walking Dead, Kamala Harris has a plan for you. The bottom line is the Republicans are going to be all over this. It's not smart, and it's a plan from a ticket that has no private sector experience and no interest whatsoever in taking responsibility for everything they have done to plunge the working class of the United States of America into an.
And again, the issue with this is, well, what are Trump's proposals? You go and you look at them. It's end inflation. What does that mean? What do you mean end inflation? All we got to do is put Trump in there, and that's all it's going to take. And man, you know what I'm saying? Trump should have he shouldn't have picked JD Vance. He should have picked Doug Burgum or something, because one of JD Vance's biggest problems, other than people just flat don't like him, he doesn't have a record as a politician. Doug Burgum has, he's been a governor. He's older. He has more of a veteran record. Mike Pence, he was a governor. He was in Congress. He has a record to speak of. So you could absolutely despise Mike Pence's record, but he got one. Well, I mean, what is JD Vance going to say when he's on stage debating Tim Walz, who, again, love or hate Tim Walz's record, he has one. He's a governor. He was a governor, not now, trying to be vice president. He spent time in Congress. JD Vance wrote a book and he just got elected to the Senate, and nothing happens in the Senate. So, I mean, I just like JD Vance is just a bad pick. That is just an absolutely terrible pick. But see, 91G, that's the problem. You're talking about how things should be, but it's not how things are. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I think I should have $1 million sitting to my right, but I don't. So you like it doesn't mean anything. We got a huge ad blitz coming. Why are you here? Why are you here? I don't know why Tech is here. At least 91G is actually engaging. 91G is engaging in conversation. Tech is just trolling, but nobody's getting mad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even like 91G. I feel like we could have some beers. We could go grab some beers and kick it. Go do something, have a good time. You know what I'm saying? But Merc Tech, whoever you are, you just seem like nobody could ever get along with you whatsoever. See, I'm a reasonable guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm a reasonable person. But Merc Tech, something's up with you, man. My bad. Let's see. I got a text. My bad. Oh, I was talking about Merc Tech. Merc Tech is just he's in here trying super hard to make people mad, but everyone's just laughing at him. All right, let's see. But now I appreciate people like 91G coming in, because we got some disagreements, but you're not being an asshole. You're not being stupid. All right, let's see. Harris campaign announces $370 million battleground ad push. Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign announced plans to spend at least $370 million on advertisements between Labor Day and Election Day, a massive allotment of funds aimed at expanding growth in battleground states in the final sprint toward the presidential election. A press release from Harris's principal deputy campaign manager, Quentin Folks, and digital director, Rob Flaherty, on Saturday morning outlined plans for the campaign to order $170 million in TV reservations, as well as over $200 million in digital reservations, citing the campaign's goal to, quote, reach voters where they are. The ads will follow the campaign's current $150 million media blitz for August and will focus on aggressively defining Harris's positions to voters and countering the attacks lobbed at her by her opponent. All right. I mean, there's really not much else to say about that. Just know that a whole lot of money is going into advertisements in the battleground states. Now, let me pull. Hold on, let me see. What is this? Let me pull something else up. Now, this right here, that what I'm about to pull up. Let's see. This right here is literally why this is how Hillary Clinton lost in 2016. Right here. And this is a major problem for the Trump campaign. Hillary Clinton just didn't, she just wouldn't go and campaign in certain places because she just assumed that she would win. She just assumed that people wouldn't vote for Trump. And now when you look at, states like Georgia, where Kamala Harris, at least as of a week ago, she had like 36 offices open in the state of Georgia, and Trump has like one office. You look in the swing states, Trump has a few offices open. Kamala has like 40 offices open. That matters massively. You have to get out the vote, because voting is a tedious process. Not only do you have to register to do it, then you have to go do it. Sometimes people work on that Tuesday. Maybe they have to organize things so that they can get time off. You have to be motivated to do it. So if you don't have offices open in the states, if you're not knocking on doors and not really putting in that groundwork, then you're not going to get out the vote as much as somebody else who is. So, this is a huge issue for the Trump campaign right here. And honestly, even more important than just like the media frenzies that he constantly gets himself caught up in. This is real campaigning. And apparently he's not doing it well. Trump's 2024 campaign is, quote, making no discernible effort to try and win over the Hispanic vote in Pennsylvania, a key voting bloc in a key swing state, according to a new report from the Financial Times. Financial Times editor Edward Luce reported from Allentown on the potential pitfall for the Trump campaign. Luce notes that the Hispanic community in Pennsylvania is 600,000 strong in a state where the victor of the last two presidential elections won by less than 100,000 votes. This is from his report. Quote, Joe Biden's campaign started early and in earnest, running Spanish language commercials in Pennsylvania in March, 8 months before November's presidential election. Kamala Harris, who replaced him in July this week, booked a new round of ads. Quote, I have never seen a campaign start as early as Biden. Usually it would be in September, said Victor Martinez, owner of Pennsylvania's largest Spanish language radio network and the anchor of his own morning show from Allentown, the state's third largest city. Quote, what confuses me is why the Trump campaign is not even trying to reach Spanish speakers. As a businessman, I would go bankrupt if I ignored my fastest growing audience. Luce pointed out the lack of investment from Trump in Pennsylvania may be a consequence of the fact that he was comfortably leading President Joe Biden in the polls in the state before Biden dropped out of the race last month. Now, with Vice President Kamala Harris surging, the race has changed significantly. So yeah, that's gotta. I mean, like that the Trump campaign, they gotta fix this shit 2 weeks ago. They gotta fix this shit last week. They better fix this shit tomorrow. Because again, at the end of the day, campaigning is about what you're doing on the ground. You know what I'm saying? So but yeah, that's how Hillary Clinton lost in 2016, despite the fact that, she had, everything going for her to win that election. She's a Clinton. She had the whole Democratic Party behind her. She had everything going for her, but she lost because she just assumed that she was going to win. And and again, as I pointed out before, she also did that against Barack Obama. In 2008, she lost to a black man who nobody had ever heard of before. And that's very, very significant when your last name is Clinton. You know what I'm saying? Like, you lost to the man who became the first black president in history. He was new. He was pretty fresh on the scene, a younger man. Hillary Clinton is not good at campaigning. And, again, if the Trump campaign does not fix this rather immediately, then that's just going to be a massive detriment to voter turnout. All right, let's see what's up. Where should we go now? And again, here we go. We got more Republicans coming out saying, Trump, please focus on policy. But he's not. He won't. He's not going to do it, man. He's not going to do it. He's going to keep saying the same stuff that he says. And it matters because right now you got to convince independents and swing state voters, and they're looking at you talking about you're a better looking person than Kamala. And you can't just expect people to sift through that.
Now is Trump ally, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. Senator Graham, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here. Let's start with some of the concerns that former President Trump's allies have had about him not staying on message in the way that he is talking about his new rival, Vice President Kamala Harris. Here's what Nikki Haley had to say about that. Take a look.
The campaign is not going to win talking about crowd sizes. It's not going to win talking about what race Kamala Harris is. It's not going to win talking about whether she's dumb. It's not, you can't win on those things. I think the campaign needs to focus. That's the main thing. Look, this is a winnable election, but you need to focus.
Senator, do you agree with Nikki Haley's assessment?
Yeah, I don't look at Vice President Harris as a lunatic. I look at her as the most liberal person to ever be nominated for president in the history of the United States. She's going to the Soviet Union playbook to lower prices called price control. She wants to eliminate private health care. She's for reparations. She's against fracking. She doesn't want to eliminate private health care.
In 2020, she very briefly said she was for Medicare for all, and then she quickly changed her mind. Again, at least you're talking about policy here. At least there's that, and that's what they're asking to do, like talk about policy, because then you can at least debate it. There's some meat on the bones. There's something to discuss. So I just this is really crazy. But again, as I always point out, for anybody, no matter uh, what it is that you believe, no matter who it is that you follow, local politics is always going to be the most important to be involved with. It's important to be involved in federal politics, for sure, but your city council, your mayor, those are the people who have direct influence on, for instance, maybe the public school programs that you have in a certain given town. I always bring up the example in the town that I grew up in St. Louis, University City. There's a city council passed a program to where anybody who goes to a public school from the time that you're in kindergarten all the way through your senior year, like if you do well in school, if you participate in extracurricular activities and stuff like that, then you can get up to $500 in savings for a college account. And because studies show that if you have at least some savings, you're more likely to finish college and you're more likely to participate in certain activities. And that is paid for through parking tickets and like parking meters. Stuff like that is directly implemented through city council. If you don't like your police department, if you don't like the district attorney, if you don't, all of that is impacted directly through the local political process. So for anybody, no matter what it is that you believe, I highly encourage you to check out who's on the city council, and anybody who gets voted in your town. Learn about that. And actually, what I'm going to do in the coming weeks, we'll do some shows to where we're just talking about the process of local politics, how you can get more involved. I think that's important. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. All right, here we go.
For the Green New Deal, on and on and on. So I would make it about policy. A nightmare for Harris is to defend her policy choices. Every day we're not talking about her policy choices as vice president, and what she would do as president is a good day for her and a bad day for us.
And of course, her campaign has said she's actually not opposed to fracking. But the broader question here, right, Senator Graham,
how can you be for the Green New Deal? Wait a minute. How can you be for the Green New Deal and not be opposed to fracking? That's BS.
Okay.
And again, right now, what we're looking at least he is talking about policy. At least he's talking about it. So whether you agree, disagree, anything like that, he's not talking about, a few years ago, Kamala, I thought she was Indian, but now all of a sudden she wants to be known as a black person. Like, dude, you're sitting in front of a black journalist conference. Why are you saying this shit? What are you doing? So at least there's that, but he's not going to change.
Let me ask you, big picture, bottom line me here. Do you think former President Trump should stop talking about Vice President Harris's race and intelligence?
Yeah, I think, in my view, is that me and Nikki need to go to Georgia. We're giving advice on TV to President Trump. He's got a lot of critics. He's got a lot of advisors. But to Nikki Haley and DeSantis and Youngkin and all these great people we have, let's get together and actually campaign for the guy rather than just give advice. But in the advice-giving column, here's what I would say. President Trump can win this election. His policies are good for America, and if you have a policy debate for president, he wins. Donald Trump, the provocateur, the showman, may not win this election. So I'm looking for President Trump to show up in the last 80 days to define what he will do for our country, to fix broken borders, to lower inflation. The numbers that Americans are living with under Harris-Biden are terrible. 50% increase in gas prices, mortgage rates going through the roof, grocery costs are really high. That's what I would focus on.
Yeah, but you're not Trump, so that's not what he's going to talk about. He may talk about that for 5 seconds, but then he's going to veer off into talking about Hannibal Lecter and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I just see. Uh, mm, what should we do now? We got a couple more up. Let's look at George Santos. Well, let's check out George Santos, the man who just cannot tell the truth. Hey, George Santos, I ain't never seen nobody like George Santos before, man. He is really something else. He will give anybody a run for their money when it comes to pathological liar. This guy, man. All right, George Santos is expected to plead guilty in federal fraud case in New York. George Santos is expected to plead guilty to charges stemming from allegations of fraud. A person familiar with the matter confirmed to CBS News New York. Santos, the former New York Republican congressman, is expected to enter a plea in federal court Monday in central Islip, New York. I don't know if that's how you say it. Islip. It's something along those lines. He was expelled from the House of Representatives last year and previously pleaded not guilty to 23 federal charges. I don't know how this dude thought he was going to get away with this shit, man. All right, let's see. Let's look at the list of the things he lied about. Graduating from Baruch College and New York University. Yeah, and no one would be able to go check that out. No one would be able to sift through the records to see if there was any validity. Being an accomplished college volleyball player, having grandparents who survived the Holocaust, working at Citigroup and Goldman Sachs, fabricating his family wealth, stealing from campaign contributors. Santos's defense team asked the court for a partially anonymous jury, citing, quote, extensive and largely negative media coverage and claiming jurors could face harassment or intimidation. If convicted in a trial, Santos faces a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. That's a long time for anybody. I'm not saying it's too long. I'm just saying being in prison for that long. Ooh, man. Fuck that shit, man. Fuck all that. Well, all right, what we got lastly? The disgraced former congressman covered New York's 3rd congressional district. His win back in 2022 helped the Republican Party take control of the House. Almost immediately, Santos started making headlines for a litany of scandals. Quote, he has been saying that he wants his day in court since he was indicted. Well, give him his day in court, said Jody Cass-Finkel, who led the citizen group to oust Santos from office. He essentially was torturing us for months. For 11 months, we had to live with him as our representative. As far as we're concerned, the urgency is gone, and he shouldn't get a plea deal. I mean, look, I don't understand why JD thought it's not that he was going to get away with that, but he also stole money from people's credit cards and shit. What was it? I can't remember who it was. It was somebody who was working on his campaign or was a part of his staff. He ended up stealing like thousands of dollars from. Thank you, Mara Islip. Thank you. Appreciate that. And George Santos stole thousands of dollars from one of his supporters or some shit like that. Let's see. But yeah, George Santos. Hell of a guy, man. That's a hell of a guy. All right, let's look at swing state voters with JD Vance and Tim Walz. Again, man, Tim Walz was just JD Vance was just a bad pick because if he would have picked Doug Burgum, then they would have a record to debate about. This is going to be a shit show. All right. I miss George Santos too, man. That's really who we need in office. That's really who we need as president. We got to get George Santos in the building. JD Vance falters with Sunbelt swing state voters. They're more receptive to Tim Walz. Ohio Senator JD Vance and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz are both sons of the Midwest, whose respective selections as vice presidential candidates were rooted in a desire to reach voters in the region. But both parties hope their VP picks will also appeal to voters in the pivotal Sun Belt. All right, let's look at some of the numbers. This is New York Times, Siena College Battleground. Across Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, and North Carolina, Walls collectively has a 40% favorability rating among likely voters who identify as independents, while 34% of independents disapproved of the Minnesota governor. This spread gives Walls a net favorability rating of 6 points with this group. Vance, meanwhile, is viewed unfavorably by Sunbelt independents. The Ohioan has a minus 11 net favorability rating among the pivotal bloc. There are some especially glaring red signs for the Republican presidential ticket in Arizona, as state that former President Donald Trump hopes to claw back into the GOP column in November with his border security message. Now, I'm gonna everybody. I'm gonna get a second screen so that I can keep up, because when I'm reading stuff and watching things, I can't see the chat because I'm using one screen. But I'm gonna sometime in the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna get another screen so that I can keep up with the chat while I'm streaming, because y'all we have good conversation in here. Um, but it after I'm done reading, I'm always super far below. So I apologize to anybody um if I've missed anything. Let's see. In Arizona, Vance's favorability rating among all likely voters was 41%, with 49% viewing him unfavorably. But among independents, Vance performed worse. Some 52% of respondents viewed him unfavorably, while 39% saw him favorably. Okay. Not surprising. Let's see. Um, all right, let's look at some of these JD Vance's comments, and we got a couple more videos of JD, and then we will be done with this quick Sunday newsreel stream. And again, what I'm going to do is make sure that as the election approaches, that we have some more information about ballot initiatives. Again, we went over some of that. Abortion access is on the ballot in Missouri and Arizona, and the $15 minimum wage is also on the ballot initiative here in Missouri on November 5th. So again, we're gonna stay up to date with all of that. Uh oh, Libby, good to have you here, Libby. It's all good. We having a fun stream, a fun Sunday stream. All right, let's see. Um, Fox News anchor confronts JD Vance with brutal criticism from Karl Rove about campaign's childish insults. Let's see what he says.
Now, Republican vice presidential nominee and Ohio Senator JD Vance, welcome back.
Thanks, Shannon. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so let's start there. This race is much different than what you were looking at a month ago. It is much tighter. You have said Republicans, quote, are going to need every vote they can get. You heard what Nikki Haley had to say. Here's what Karl Rove says, echoing her. He's going to be on the show later. He says Mr. Trump so far has largely focused on themes that appeal only to his true believers, childish insults and talk of stolen elections, January 6 political prisoners, and a weaponized justice system. That won't win him a single vote he doesn't already have. So you know the faithful are with you. What more can and should your campaign be doing to reach beyond those boundaries?
Well, first of all, I think Ambassador Haley is right that we have to reach a broader group of voters, but I think that we're doing exactly that, Shannon. If you look at what President Trump has been saying at his rallies, what I've been doing at my rallies and my press events, is we've been making a very simple argument that when Kamala Harris became president, or vice president, I should say, she caused policies that led to a rapid increase in inflation and a rise in chaos around the world. When Donald Trump was president, we had stable prices, we had prosperity, we had higher take-home pay for American workers, and we had peace across the world. The contrast is really remarkable. And importantly, Shannon, we actually have a vision for bringing down energy costs, for bringing down food costs, for making housing more affordable for American citizens. And we have been running on that. And of course, the media has been giving Kamala Harris a 3-week love fest. But the unfortunate fact for Kamala Harris is her record is her record. And we're going to prosecute the case that Donald Trump caused peace and prosperity, Kamala Harris caused chaos and lower take-home pay. I think that we get that message out there, Shannon. I feel very confident the American people are going to elect Donald Trump president in November.
Well, let's see if you can get the message out there. Let's see how over the next 80 days, if you're able to effectively communicate that message to the American people. Okay. Well, let's see. We don't need to. We don't need to look at that. We got Brit Hume. We got Brit Hume. Well, what's the droopy dog's name from the Looney Tunes? I can't remember his name. Droopy Dog or something. That's Brit Hume. That's what reminds me of Brit Hume. Um. All right. So let's see. What's Brit Hume talking about?
Down. Okay, so you heard me talking with Senator Vance there about where they are in the polls. He says they've got the message, they're going to win. Here's another Fox News poll we have out this week. How do you feel about how things are going in the country? 65% say they're dissatisfied. So, Britt, knowing that and knowing in this setup, Trump is the challenger, why is he not doing better?
Because he's Trump. I mean, the truth of the matter is...
And the show is over. Britt has dropped the mic.
I mean, you get down to it, the past 8 to 10 years have been about Donald Trump. Everything's been about Donald Trump. I don't think that the Democrats would have let Joe Biden get as far as he did if the party hadn't been confident that the Republicans were going to nominate Donald Trump again, which the Republicans did. The fact that Biden was doing even as well as he did until the very end is testament to the fact that Donald Trump, he has a very hard, solid base of support, but it never gets above about 40 to 45%, maybe a little more at best. So his weakness is the predicate for our politics going back three elections. He was able to surmount Hillary Clinton, a uniquely unpopular opponent, but he couldn't beat Biden. And, you know, you look at the losses in the midterms, or the disappointing results in the midterms, it's all about one thing. It's about that Donald Trump, no matter how enthusiastic his supporters are, nonetheless is not a majority candidate. He might win, but he's not a majority candidate.
Well, and Carl, you heard that I read part of your piece with Senator Vance, and he says the president is listening to everyone. They're willing to take input. Do you think that's true of this campaign? And do you think they're going to have a shakeup in leadership in the campaign?
Well, first of all, he does listen to a lot of people, but the person he listens to is the inner voice. And we see it in these rallies, which are a particularly undisciplined form of communications. Look, think about it. 2/3 of the American people think we're going in the wrong direction. He leads on the issue of who's better on the economy, who's better on inflation, who's better on immigration. That's all good numbers for him. And yet this race today, he's behind. And why is he behind? Because he is making this race about things other than the three big issues in this campaign: the economy, inflation, and immigration. And, you know, he can go out and touch on those things, but he will say something incendiary, or something will pop up dismissing Medal of Honor winners, saying the economy is not a major issue. He obscures his message because he's fundamentally undisciplined. Having said that, this race is tight as a tick and will remain so. There's been great movement towards the Harris campaign between July 21st and today. But think about this. If you take the Real Clear Politics average of the battleground states, Trump leads in Nevada, North Carolina, and Georgia in the Real Clear Politics average. Harris leads in Arizona, Michigan, and Wisconsin. That leaves the race at 257 electoral votes for Trump, 262 for Harris, and the decision to be made in the state that is tied, Pennsylvania, with 19 electoral votes. This is going to be a race right to the end, and the more disciplined campaign is going to be the campaign that wins.
Well, and at this point,
yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear, man. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious how this election is trending. And again, unless the Trump campaign is able to hit a complete 180, focus on policy, focus on why a Trump ticket is better than a Kamala ticket, without all the communism. Well, sure, you can say that, but you're gonna have to get more specific, because that's not really, that's not going to sell with people outside of those who are already going to vote for you. Unless Trump's able to do that, things are going to continue to trend in the direction that they are. The DNC is this upcoming week. A lot of attention is going to be on Kamala and Tim Walz. So, again, unless Trump is able to somehow turn this around, then it's not going to turn around, and Kamala Harris is going to win. So thank y'all for joining me on this Sunday, and also 91G. Thank you for coming in here, man. Like I appreciate you coming in here and saying what you think, saying what you feel, saying what you found, and not being a big asshole. I guess I mixed your comments with Merc Tech. Clearly you saw him. He's just an idiot. But thank you for joining. I definitely welcome any difference of opinion. I welcome debate, and I welcome division. Because that's America. Yeah, man. Thank y'all for joining me on this Sunday. And tomorrow I'm gonna be on Indisputable. I'm also gonna be on Indisputable on Tuesday, so I might not stream. But if I don't, then if I don't stream tomorrow or Tuesday, then I'm going to stream on Wednesday, and we'll carry everything forward. So y'all have a fantastic rest of the day, and I'll see you soon.